Okay, we will start. Thank you for joining once again. In earlier videos, we have covered the basic of the SQL, what are the database, then what are the different types of data types available in the SQL server, then how to create a table, then uh, how to modify the existing table or how to drop the table, and then we have also covered the alter database statement, how to rename the database, and then how to add the columns into a particular table, how to modify the table structure, and then how to insert or add the records into a table. So today we will cover the constraints of available in the SQL Server. What is the constraint? Constraint is nothing but applying certain rules on tables or restriction on the database so that anyone cannot violate that particular rule. Uh, so there are different types of the constraints available in the SQL Server. So one is about at the column level, and other are at table level. So column level means if you are applying the constraint on a single table, then single column, then it's at column level, and if you are applying constraints on multiple columns, that means it is at the table level. So there are by defaults uh, there are a few constraints which is not null, unique, default, primary key, foreign key, check, create index. So today I will cover not null constraint, unique constraint, and default constraint. In tomorrow's sessions, I will cover the rest part of the constraints. So, what is not null constraint? You may have seen while creating the tables, we haven't specified anything. So during that time, we have like we inserted few values into it, and in few columns we haven't inserted data. So uh, let me expand the table. So here, for example, employee is the table, and you can see I will show you the records in that table. See here, the null means the data is not present here. So the meaning of that null is unknown value, or we don't know what is the value. It could be either in case of the gender and record 9. Uh, for Robert, the gender will either will be male or female or anything else. We can't commit on that. So if you don't know the value, that time you will specify null as a value. And what is not null means, like if you specify not null constraint during creation of table or after creation of the table, you cannot you have to have a value into that field. So I will show you one more example, and I how not null constraint works. I will show you how to create the constraint during table creation as well as post table creation, how it works. So I will create one more table, and mm, okay. So again, whenever a table's column is declared as not null, then the value for that column cannot be empty. So you have to specify the value, either it could be a blank or a space in case of the string, and in case of the number you have to specify the value. Now I will create one table. For example, we have a employee. Now I will create a table called department. Depart. The syntax of the table creation is create table, and then name of the table is department. So this is user defined name, a department. Then depth ID is my column name, depth underscore ID. Then integer, I will keep data type as integer because I will insert the values as 1, 2, 3, 4, and I don't want null values in the department. So I want to restrict that user. He has to insert a value into the department. So I will specify not null. This is the constraint. Then other column name is depth underscore name, and the department name will be in the variable. So in the character, so I will mention as varchar varchar 10, and I will create this table now. So I miss closing parenthesis, and I'm executing this query I'm creating this table under SQL tutorial database. So you can see this table is exist under this SQL tutorial. See here, and now you, if you want to check the design, then from design you can see not null is applied here. Oh, not this one. I have checked for the employee table. I have to check for the department table. Go to the design, and now you can see allow null. That check mark is not there, so meaning that it is, this column will not allow null values. So now what I will do, I will insert a record into this table. Insert into then depth or department table name, then values, and now I will insert only, I will try to insert values only into the depth underscore. Oh, it's my bad. I have mentioned DAPT instead of the DAPT. I will rename it from here. Oh, sorry. Depth rename depth underscore any name, and then I will try to insert value as computer, and I will execute this query. Uh, insert values, this wrong syntax. See, you will get an error. Cannot insert null value into column depth ID table of particular this SQL database. DBU is schema, department is table name, column does not allow null value. So insert fails. But if I try to insert a value only into ID, I can insert C, because this department name has null value, so it allows null. So what I will do, I will insert value only in the department, and it has a data type integer, so I will insert 1. See, you are able, I am able to successfully add the record into it, and I can show you that. Select star from department. You can see I have inserted value into the depth ID column, but not in the depth name. So depth name was allowing me to add the null values, and depth ID is not allowing me to add the not null values. So the purpose of the not null constraint is, for example, if you are doing a registration anywhere, then if you want to capture the mandatory fields, like if you want to capture a KYC details, and without that KYC details you cannot proceed the registration. During that time, the fields which stores the KYC details in real life, real time, that columns always has a not null constraint over there. So now, like I have added not null constraint during table creation. Now suppose I want to add uh, not null constraint while a post creation of the table, and what I will do, I will add one more column here. So the syntax to add a column into existing table is you have to use a alter statement. So alter table department, and now what will I'll do? I will add one more column called salary, and data type is money. Then I will select as not null. Now it will not allow me values because I have one record in this table. So you will get an error. So if you are adding one more column, and if you are specifying not null constraint, then it is very difficult. So there is one more constraint. By doing that, you can achieve the same thing. You have to mention a default constraint, and then you can specify that, and you can execute this one. I will explain this default constraint in later video. Before that, I will truncate this table. So truncate command is used to remove all the records from the table. Truncate table, then I will comment this part, and I will execute only this part. So now the purpose of the truncate command or use of the truncate command is it will remove all the records from the table. You can see there is no record in the table. Now I will execute this query. So there is no record. Earlier there was one department ID, and uh, there was one record we have inserted, depth 1. And now I can add this uh, give me 1 minute. So now I can add the one more column in this table using alter command, and with a default with not null as a constraint. So you can see now I am able to successfully add. Earlier, why I was not able to add not null? Because there was one record. Okay, the record was one, then department was null, and there was no column. Okay, and now if I try to add one more column, then the structure would be like uh, depth id null. So but what I will kept here for this record. Here will be a like depth id, then sorry, depth name. For this record, I have, if I try to add a salary, and if salary is not part earlier while inserting the record, so it will consider null value. So that's the reason I was unable to add the not null constraint when there were a few records. So there is an alternative way to do that. I will show you in the like next session, or in after a few minutes. Now, this is the alternative way. If you have a table, and you have missed to add a not null constraint, you can use alter command and then specify the column name and then data type, and post that you can specify the constraint name. So, one more type I will show you. Suppose I have one more column, and table department add create date, CREA underscore date. And department, I think I missed the spelling. Department. Okay. See now, if you check the data type, the column is, it is allowing me null. Okay. So how can I change this column from null to not null? Is this alter column, then create date not null, date not null. Now see not null. So now what I will do, I will try to add few records into this table, and I will show you it will not allow me to I mean, if I miss the values, or if I am not adding the values to create table, it will violate this rule, not null constraint, and it will throw an error. So I will, how many columns I have now? Select star from department. So I have one, two, three, four, and out of four column, I have two columns are not null and two columns are with null. So insert into department. This is the syntax. Then you can specify the list of the columns. But now I am inserting. Okay, if I try to insert values under the department ID, then type, yeah, I will not, yeah, depart name, then I will not insert the value for the salary. Salary is null. Okay, I will make this column as not null. First, it is not null, I will make it as null. Alter table, this is the syntax. So alter command is the DML statement and a DDL statement, that is, and it is used to change the structure of any object. So I'm changing the structure. So structure means the definition. Alter table department, alter column. I am altering the column salary, and then money is my data type, and null. Hmm, alter column. I missed the column. Alter column keyword is missing. So now you can check, you can see this column is contain null value. So what can I do? I will insert a record into this table, depart, dp, department. Then I will specify the column names, score ID, and then this only created CRE underscore date. And the syntax is post this values is a keyword. Then I will mention department as one, and the date. So I will mention get date. So what is get date? I will explain in a bit. This is the function. So whenever there is a function, you have to mention at the end, you have to mention a curly braces. So I will insert execute this record, and now you can see there is, I am successfully execute the select statement, sorry, insert statement. Select star from depart. Why it's not coming? I have to copy it. See, I can insert the values into this department, and create a department ID and the credit. It's mandatory. If I try to avoid inserting values to these two field, then I will get an error. So the purpose of this get date is that get date will insert today's date. So it will give you a today's date. I will show you. It will give the date and time. So select and get date and execute it. So it will give you today's date and the time, current time of a local system. Or if you are on a server, then it will give you an date of uh, from the server. So this is the not null constraint. So whenever you specify a not null constraint, then it is mandatory to insert values into that table. Now I will explain what is unique constraint. So the use of the unique constraint is that it will not allow duplicate values in a table. For example, student ID cannot be duplicate, or a department ID cannot be duplicate, or Aadhaar card cannot be duplicate, or mobile number cannot be duplicate. And so in such scenario, if you are storing such values, or a bank account number cannot be a duplicate, right? So to store the unique values, you have to mention a column name with a unique constraint. So, and you may have many unique keys per table, and whenever you define a unique constraint, during that time, non-cluster index will be created. I will explain what are the different types of cluster index and non-cluster index in future videos. And you can define unique constraint on multiple columns. If you want to define a constraint, or like a combination of first name and last name, and it should be an unique, you can create a unique constraint on two columns also. So here I will create this table. I will explain in a bit what is this. So here I'm trying to create a table called person, and then not null constraint. So you may have two constraints on a same table. So here I have two constraints. One is the not null, and another is unique. So there is one more thing, that unique allows null one single null values. So what I will do, instead of assigning null unique here, I will assign a mobile number, and then int unique. So my in my case, in this table, mobile number is unique. Why I kept here not why I haven't kept not null, because I want to show you unique accept one null values, and it will not accept more than one null values. So I will create this one again. This not null is a constraint, so it will not. I mean, you have to pass the values for the ID column. You have to pass the values for the not null, this last column. But it is possible that you cannot. I mean, if you not pass the values for the first name, then it's okay. For unique, this mobile number cannot, or mobile field cannot be duplicate. It will not accept the duplicate. I will execute this one and will show you. See, now I have created the table. I will comment out it, insert into person table, then values. Now id 1, then last name as mm, can specify work, then first name as Jay, then mobile number. Oh, I miss. Okay, you can specify the mobile number as 10 digit. So I will give any number. It's not necessary to like. It is just an integer number, so you can specify. Consider this is my mobile number, and age as again integer. So 18 years age, and insert into table. Then I'm inserting the values into all the fields. So so that I'm not specifying the column name here, and the sequence is also same. So what I will do, I will execute this query persons. So if you get an error like invalid object, try to check the name and database of whether you have selected correct database, and you have selected wrote a correct table name. So in my case, I missed that. You can see. I'm able to successfully insert a record. Select star to get the values, to read the values. This is the syntax: select, then star means all columns, and from, and then a table name. So now what I will do again, I will try to insert a value, same values into the table, and I will get an error because in our case mobile is unique, so it will not allow duplicate values. See, violation of the unique key constraint, then the constraint name cannot insert duplicate key in the object, then the object name dbo person, and the duplicate key value. What is the duplicate value? This is the duplicate value. If I change anything here and if I try to insert the values, it will access, it will allow me to add it. So see, now what I will do, I will add one more record called 2 and then j, and here I will not I will specify only null, and I will try to insert this value. It will allow. So person table having unique key will allow me null value, and it will allow only single value if I try to add uh, Hegde, then Raj, and now I'm trying to insert a null values into the mobile, but it has already a null value, so it will not allow me one more null record into the mobile number. Again, I will get an error. So during interview, you may be asked what is use of the unique, and does unique value uh, does unique constraint allow null values? Yes, it allows the null values with single null values. That field may not have a more number of uh, null values. So the purpose of the unique is to keep the records or to keep the fields unique, or to avoid the duplicate. It is used like that. That column is declared as unique. So most of the cases, the account number, again Aadhaar card, mobile number, the unique data will be kept as uh, that column is defined as a unique. So this is the case. And then if you want to add a unique constraint more than uh, two columns, then the syntax is I will show you. I will create one more table here called create table, then student and student id, id, then data type int, then not null, student id cannot be null, then app name is first name, it will be varchar 10, then last name 10, varchar 10. Now I will create this table. Yeah, and then you can define the unique key there, unique based on the first name and last name. Okay, so first name, and then I will specify last name. Will execute this query. See, now I will insert a record into this, to student. Then I'm not specifying the column name because in each and every record I'm inserting values into each field. So J, then surname is, I will mention anything Tendulkar, and then syntax is values. or Sachin. Okay, Sachin Tendulkar. See, if I try to insert these values again, I will get an error. See, violation of unique constraint, because now I cannot insert the same values. If I try, I have changed the ID column, but if I try to insert the record again, I will get an error, because now it will check the uniqueness based on the F name and the first name and the last name. Okay, see, again I will get an error. So if I change from Sachin to Arjun, then it will allow me to insert the record. Even in case of the ID, I will keep as it is and ID2, and then I will add Sara Tendulkar, and it will allow, because now it is checking uniqueness only based on the first name and the last name. So see, it is allowed me to do this. Select star from student. See, so it will check the uniqueness based on these two only columns and not the three columns. If you want to specify the uniqueness on multiple columns, then this is the syntax: create table, table name, then specify the unique at the end, and then specify the multiple column names. So, mm, and if you want to add unique constraint post data table creation, then this is the syntax: alter table, table name, add unique column. What I will do, I will add that to here, to no, to the department table. Let me check. Yeah, here. So select star from department. Now what I will do, I will add unique constraint to existing this department table on department name. So what I will do, alter, to change the definition of table. This is the syntax: alter table, table name, then alter column name. We want alter column tab, tabbed underscore name is my column name. What is the syntax? Then add, oh sorry, add tabbed unique. Add unique. Okay. Unique, and then column name. Instead of the alter, you have to specify add. Then my column name is tabbed underscore name. So this is the syntax. See, if you check here, if I refresh this one, and then okay. So how to check the constraints? We have added more constraints, so how can I get the constraints? So there is one way: you can select this table name and press alt F1, or then you will get the detailed structure. What are the different types of the column names, what is their type, how much is the length, whether it is allowing null or not, and other details. So it is also allowing me, as I mentioned, whenever you define a unique constraints, that time non-constraint index is created, and it will give like the column name. Then this is the constraint type. Okay, this is the constraint name. So you can even like specify the readable constraint name. This is SQL creates the constraint name by default, so you can check by using that one. Also, the other way is you can use sp underscore help. This is the store procedure, and then pass the table name. Again it will give the same information. So you can use either way. You can use either sp underscore help, or you can use alt f1. Select the table and press alt f1, so it will give the same. Again, graphically you can check here. So expand the table name, and then under the keys constraints, so refresh it, it will get It's not showing. Yeah, here under the keys you will get the keys. This is the constraint name, you can check. And even it has created by default index. I think it will show you here. Okay, so I think today we'll stop here. Tomorrow I will cover the default constraint and other constraints. So I'm stopping here. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe. You can ask your queries in the comment box.